So she's got penny clicks going on for the videos, and the static ads are cheap, maybe like $1 or something per lead or something. So it's finally coming together. It's finally coming together. And so today, I know this is a Kyle Helps Henry day, but I got some questions for you, and maybe you can kind of help me out. But it all stems around getting that message and clarifying that message.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, let's start with your questions, and then we'll go into what I had in mind.
Okay. So basically, you're an entrepreneur that works with the level of clientele that I work with.
Absolutely.
And so my question for you, first question would have been, what are those things that you think they need from us as creatives?
Okay, so I didn't force it, kind of it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways, which is we have to put in the time into our craft, and we have to be exceptionally better than the competition, right? Meaning like I know for a fact the guy who I'm going to work with right now has worked with a bunch of other videographers before, right? But he has identified, or through the circle of influence or whatever, he's identified that I have something that's different. Yep. Right? So it's sort of like a new opportunity or something that they haven't seen before. So we need to create that unique value proposition. And the way that we do that is through reverse engineering and through surveys. Meaning, so I added a bunch of things to my package because I started getting feedback and I just started seeing patterns. I'll give you an example. So I was talking with David Schloss, I believe is how you say his last name. He owns an agency, and he mentioned to me, he's like, "Hey, do you ever make like retargeting videos? Is that included in your package?" And I said, "No, it's not. But tell me about that." And he said, "Well, at every stage of the funnel, there could be a retargeting ad. So it's like, hey, you saw the ad, but you didn't click the link. Go click the link. Hey, you clicked the link and you saw the application, but you didn't fill out the application. Hey, you filled out the application, but you didn't schedule a call." Right? So there's all these places where there could be an asset there that there isn't. And if there is, it's them trying to do it on their own, right? And I don't know what your experience is, but I know that there are some marketers and entrepreneurs who clean up on follow-up ads on retargeting. And so he said, yeah, you should just include that in your package. So now I've added retargeting ads into what I do as a level of just like, okay, how can I serve these people? How can I give them something that they don't have? That's and right. So when they come to hire me, I then can have a high-level marketing conversation with them about their funnel, which is not something that they're having with their videographer.
Aha! There's your leverage.
Yeah.
There's your angle.
Yep. It's like, oh, I'm a marketer and a video guy and a storyteller, right? And I'm really pushing that. So it's like, okay, we're going to do the Facebook ads, and now I have a formula from Billie Jean for how to do good video advertisements. Then the emotional selling part, which is like my meat and potatoes, is what I'm really good at. And then the thank you page, and then the retargeting stuff, right? And I'll continue to put more and more stuff, and that may increase the price, but I'll put stuff in there because I'll serve at a higher level. And I only do that because of the level of understanding. So a lot of entrepreneurs and service providers, they get obsessed with their product or their offer versus their customer and what their needs are. So if we can focus on being customer centric, then I think then we can really help our customers at a much higher level. And
That's it. That's it. So being mindful of what it is that they're asking for, and then just adding that in and sort of fill in the gap of what the other competition isn't doing, and being able to do that. So you're just obviously the preferred option because you're more comprehensive, you're more inclusive.
Yeah, and you can drive your prices up because you will get paid in direct reflection to perceived value, right? Not necessarily the value you bring, but perceived value.
Yeah, but not only that, I look at it and I say, well, it'd be a no-brainer for me to go with Kyle because Kyle's going to give me everything I need versus piecemealing it with someone else. And it's funny you say that because that's how I've noticed the growth and the maturity of Unique Designz over the past 16 or 18 months is, we've got a lot of programs now where it's done for you. You come in, you get the strategy, then we get the design, and then we have like the maintenance packages or the Designs on Demand program to keep everything consistent and neat and then we just serve you, from beginning to end. So there's really no reason for you to go anywhere else. Now, again, you have to maintain quality of service and be there and over deliver.
Yeah, there's a fine line between like trying to do this like whole like suite of services and like staying in your lane,
Right.
Like, so it's kind of, you got to walk the balance of that.
Right. Like I would never run Facebook ads for people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if we were to do that again, I would network. I have a network of people that do that for me. If they are willing to take this client on, then I would refer. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's how I do it too.
And we do like a little 10% referral. Like if people send me people all the time and I send people to people all the time. And having that little circle of network is great. And I always say like for that introductory call, that's the $100. I say this call is to see if we're going to be a good fit. Number one, and if we're not, I'm going to help you find someone who is. So that $97 doesn't go to waste. It's going to definitely get you better than where you are right now.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was my biggest question. And
wait, ask the question again because I want to make sure that I can answer it to the level of depth that you want as well.
So again, you and I are talking about crystallizing and really cementing my message to my audience. And so my question was, what do I need to be asking? What do I need to be looking at and looking for with my target audience so that I'm putting that right message out there, right?
Yeah. Yep. So here's two things. So number one, we started with the survey that I gave you. So you have the data on who you're trying to speak to. And you need to be, you kind of need to do the same thing that you and I are doing, that you're doing for me, and being very clear on that avatar, right? So if the data that you gave me in that survey is the avatar that you're trying to serve, then I think the best way, this is great. So I went to a mastermind right after traffic and conversions, and I forget his name, but the gentleman's name is Gary Halbert's son, the copywriter. Yeah. And I asked him, how do you do research? Because research is the most important part of copywriting, right? And the way that I look at video and video marketing and storytelling is the same because I was a copywriter for a long time. So all my videos are like research based. So I do the survey, I collect the research, and then I make the video. So he told me the best way to do research is to go meet your perfect customer, go find that person. I'm sure there's someone in New York City or in New Jersey area. Take them out and get them drunk. and then have a conversation with them about what you're talking about. And that's not, it's fun. It really is funny, but what that will do is you'll get the truth.
Yeah.
Right? You'll just get the truth. And I think when you have that level of understanding and you've spent that much time, and I think you do already kind of have that level of understanding because you've been working with these types of people for so long, but it is constantly coming back to them and asking them, what message do you need to hear? And sometimes they don't know, right? So after you collect that data from the surveys and from, you know, getting that person drunk and asking them questions and stuff, you can then look at your story, the one that we kind of went through. And maybe that's not the one, right? Maybe there's other stories, right, that are better fit. But figuring out what narrative is going to resonate the most with that particular person,
yep,
based on all the information you collected. And that doesn't mean manipulate your story. That means just tell the version of it that makes sense
for them.
Yep. And then after that, you have to look at like sequencing. So like, where are you going to put this message? And like, at what time is it going to meet them? And like, at what tone is it going to meet them? So is it going to be like a sad like thing, or is it going to be like a pump up thing, or is it going to be like what tone is it going to be in? And then also like, where is it going to meet them? So is it going to be on the front end, like the very, very front end, like before they come into your content? Or is it going to be after they come into your content and they're at the breach of your funnel? Or is it after they've ascended a little bit further down? You know, so you got to start looking at your funnel and where you think you need to create the most connection.
Got it. I love that. It makes total sense. So having all that, being aware of all of that is key. So it's funny. I would be a hypocrite to not go through, not put my company through everything that I'm putting you through and my clients through. Mm-hmm. And so I actually, that exercise that I'm putting you through right now, I put Unique Designz through it, and I have some really awesome, I found some really awesome data just by taking the time and like listening and hearing, because those three user profiles, they're real people.
Yeah.
I just changed their names to protect the guilty. I mean, but they are three of my super clients, like awesome clients. And so when I was typing all that stuff out, I mean, I could share it with you. I think it's smart to share it with you real quick, just so you can see it. So if we come here, and then I don't want to cut you short either, because I know you have like a curriculum you want me to go through. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a real quick look. So this is sort of the mantra that Unique Design stands for. Mm-hmm. You know, we speak the truth, we stay in our lane, and we do what we do best. We connect, we inspire, we persevere, we elevate ourselves.
Oh, I can't see it. It's on the other screen.
Oh, hold on. Stop share. There we go. Tell me if you can see it now. Okay. So this is the introduction. We speak the truth, we stay in our lane, we do what we do best, we connect, we inspire, we persevere, we elevate ourselves and those around us every day. We set goals, and once achieved, we set bigger ones. We're passionate about everything we do, or we don't do it at all. We are premium. We are next level. We believe, we achieve, we grind, we hustle. We do what it takes. We love, we care. We never give up. We are Unique Designz.
Cool.
And the top attributes is straightforward, business focused, honest, motivated, confident, done for you. All right. So the user profiles that we're serving, right? We get a lot of folks in the fitness space. Nice. So, you know, like
Frankie Fitness.
Yeah, Frankie Fitness. We have a guy, Ryan Spiteri, right now in Australia, like massive influence in the fitness niche right now. We're doing his website. We're completely rebranding him, and just an awesome guy to work with, right? So here's some of the stories. You know, the guy's doing well. I don't know if these are his exact numbers, but typically these fitness folks that come to me, they're pretty established. Like Natalie Jill we worked with her a couple years back, and you know, she's a dominant character and influencer in the fitness niche. So they've got existing businesses. Now they're looking to like ramp it up, right? So, you know, everyone seems to come through like the ClickFunnels world.
Yeah.
So, you know, they found me on Russell's Russell's podcast because Russell talks about me a lot. And they started researching me out. You know, obviously, a lot of these fitness guys, they know nothing about tech. They don't want to know anything about tech. They just want the shit done for them and done for it, like really nice. But some of the things that he's been struggling with is he's just stuck. He's starting to look like his brand is starting to look like cheap.
Yeah.
And he's got to level all that up, just like Lady Boss. You know, when Lady Boss came to me and
great job with them, by the way.
Thank you. You know, they came to me and they were like, we need this redone. Like, this is something that we need to get done. And so they came and now look, you know, like.
Yeah, no, I mean, it really took them to the next level.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I'll send this to you, but there's the digital marketer, you know, and then there's the established coach, right? And they all have their backstories and this is all here. But so let me pause this. And if we need to go back to this, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I could just ask you some questions, which is like, at what stage of the funnel do you think you need to increase people's connection with you?
Yeah, so the middle. So I think a lot of Marley's doing a great job with the top of the funnel. You know, she's building up these custom audiences. She's got all the retargeting set up. So once I think in 3 days she created an audience of over 100,000 people. Like, just she's doing a great job there. The next level is getting them into the Designz on Demand program, which is our monthly design program.
Can you walk me through your funnel? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go here. All right, let me put you over here. All right, so basically, there's these free toolkits. All right. Mm-hmm. So they come here and I have like the 7 steps to a new name, the brand builders toolkit, how to attract right clients, how to elevate the status of your brand and charge more, top 10 things you need to know about branding your business. These are all free.
And do a lot of people opt in for these? So
I had them paid for a long time and I was like, you know what? Let's just take it all down. They weren't expensive. They were like $9.
Yeah.
I stopped sort of promoting them, and that's just shame on me. I just stopped promoting them. Don't ask me why, right? But now they're all free, and now I'm pushing a lot of my top of the funnel people or my audience to these, right? So you got to opt in, but they could download these for free.
Wait, hold on. Let me stop you because I need to ask a question before we continue, which is, what are you? What's your goal? Like, is it to acquire more high quality clients, or is it to sell your information products?
Yeah, so it's the first. I want to work with people more on the one-on-one.
Okay, so the reason why you're doing all this Facebook stuff and trying to bring people at the top of your funnel is ideally so that they eventually say, "Oh, I just want to have Henry do it for me."
Correct.
Okay, so are people currently coming through your funnel through the top of it to sign up for done for you services, or are they just reaching out and saying, Henry, we need a call?
It's not so cut and dry. So they come to me, they think they have this issue, but then the issue's a lot deeper.
Yeah.
So, but nobody can get that one-on-one intro with me until they get here, which is to schedule a time to chat.
Okay.
All right.
So the goal basically is to get them here.
Here. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I asked some very punchy questions up top. And then I go into a quick little message. I don't know if you could read that.
Yep.
And then they schedule the call. And then what we did here is we put Russell, we put Brandon, and Caitlin, we put Dom, and just as some infrastructure of some of the folks that I've helped over the past.
Yeah.
So the middle of the funnel is where I really need to make that connection, because nobody's going to pay the $100 for the 30 minutes if they don't know who I am or feel that they know that I could take them to the next level.
So you probably in this application process is where you need the scheduling process is where you need the video or the story.
Right. And so Marley mentioned we should put a video on that page. And I said, Marley, I could film a video in this. I didn't tell her this. This is what I'm thinking. I could film a video in this office, but is that going to give it the impact it needs?
Yeah.
Right. I say no. Like, I would need something more along what you're saying. It doesn't have to be long.
Like 2 to 4 minutes.
Right. And so I have a whole bunch of 60-second I call them mini trailers, that I could put there, because there's some that are done really, really well. I'm sure you've seen some of them.
Yeah, I saw your ad with the black and white stuff. That was cool.
Yeah. So this is what I could use in the meantime, but she wants something like me talking to them, like specifically explaining what they're going to get out of this call. Yep,
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So so we've identified that number one, like sort of we have an idea of what the story could be, or a story, right? Then we have, okay, what part of the funnel are we going to put it at?
Right.
Then we need to look at like what emotion do they need to feel compelled to take action, right?
Right.
And I think it's a mix of just a mix of trust and like believability, as well as like credibility and authority.
Yeah. So I got those two. I think the trust thing is where we need to focus in on. And I think the consistency that I show up is it's just a matter of time until people it's just that one day it clicks.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to work with this guy. I say something, Adam Wenning, perfect example. He followed me for almost 18 months until I said something that hit him square in the eye. It was, the quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients, period. And he was like, bink, $97. Like, let's go. And he hired me dead on the spot. And, he turned into like a $40,000 client.
Yeah.
And that is, that's how it happens. But we got to work there. Like,
so how could you increase in between those, whatever that time is, and like that schedule page? Like, how can we fit like right in between there?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really interesting. All right. So what other questions do you have for me?
So I want to, from an observer, from someone on the outside, right, who's dialed into me, right, and dialed into the people that I work with, because now we're going to be working with some of the same people, right? Where's my message off?
Let me look at your.
It's like that's the $1 million plus question is.
Do you feel like it's off?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I feel like it just needs to be syndicated. I need to reach more people. I need to get around more people. So I have a couple celebrity clients who've I just reached out to. My wife thought about this idea. I didn't even think, because I got to start thinking this way. But my wife actually mentioned it. She said to the one guy is we've been really communicating. He's got a new app coming out, and it's going to be massive. And I shouldn't say app, social media platform. It's just going to be massive. And she says, why don't you just ask him to introduce you? Because the guy's just connected.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, you know what? I didn't think of it. So I talked to him this morning and he said, Henry, I would be more than happy to introduce you to a bunch of my celebrity friends. Now, I don't know if all of them are going to want to jump on your podcast or want to connect with you, but I mean, I would do that in a heartbeat. So he's like, just make me a quick little template email, like a little template email that I can send to them, and I'll change it and switch it up, you know, to each person. I said, done. So I did that and sent it. So like getting at, like, just asking, you know, you know, those folks.
So the question isn't like, how can I tell my story better? It's like, how can I get more people to see it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because I think the story's nailed. I think we like got the story nailed. It's how do we refine it? How do we make it punchier?
I think,
how do we get it to resonate?
We get it to resonate by, like, you know what I found is like, it's so interesting. So I just went to Boise. I worked with Natasha. You know Natasha?
Yeah. I love her.
Yeah, she's great. And I did a testimonial for her, and then I did her story. And their stories were both really, really powerful. And like, you know, both of them cried. It's not like always the thing, right? But like, it means that you reach a threshold of like, of sort of
vulnerability.
And I think what people want when it comes to this sort of thing is they think they want the tears, but they would really want to feel is like, okay, this dude's a real human being. Like, so I showed my video to a new client, actually, this dude named Harvey. He flips mobile homes, and he went through like a similar thing that I went through with like stress and just getting sick and all this stuff. And so your message will resonate with who it's supposed to resonate. Right. And so I don't think once you get the story and the story is yours and you tell it in a vulnerable way, I don't think you can really force that. You can just put some ads behind that and you can get it out there, but like, it's going to resonate with who it's going to resonate with. Now, if we're thinking about the customer before we shoot the story, you might ask some different questions to bring out a different point. You'll still be vulnerable, but you're looking at different things. So like with Natasha, she's speaking to these women who are sort of between the ages of 30 and 50. And, you know, she's going to talk, she talked about some pretty, some deep stuff that's going to resonate with them, because these are the types of problems that these women are having. You know, she struggled with her weight, so she she hired this coach and all this stuff, and she talked about like the family stuff. You know, like I'm not going to share the details of it. I'm sure, you know, if you want to go check out her story, go check it out. But it's not for me to talk about on here. But she talked about things that are going to resonate with that person. And the only reason why I was focusing on that is because we started with the research, right? Like otherwise I would have been shooting blind. Right. But with those questions, you have a direction of where you want to go. So if you look at the survey, hold on, let me share my screen. Mm-hmm. If we come to, see, here we go. Here we go. Nope. Here we go.
Yeah.
If we look at some of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. We focus on those elements in the story, right? So maybe like a lot of this, like, you know, like, okay, maybe on the outside I'm feeling a certain way, but on the inside I wasn't feeling this way. Mm-hmm. You know, and the craziest thing about this is like, it's like the number one rule of copywriting is like, enter the conversation
that's already going on in their head,
right? So if you say some of this stuff in your story, you're going to say it, and then it's going to create instant affinity.
Yeah.
Instant affinity with the person that you're trying to speak to. Because you've done the research. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So does that answer your question?
It does. So, I really need to revisit this, and I also need to continue to revisit that Submarine Insights doc that I put together, recently, because that has the answers
that you're looking for.
Yep. Listen, I'm so good at telling my clients this. And then it's funny when you go to do it yourself, you're like, right?
We all need someone to show us, right?
Right.
We never see it for ourselves.
Yeah. And it's right there. So I've spent a lot, and I've recently been spending a lot of my downtime just research, like you said, research it, not taking people out, getting them drunk, but researching their pains and struggles, and there's a common denominator here. There's lack of time, there's lack of knowledge, there's this done for you fascination, like they just want it all done.
Just done for you. Just do it. Like, I'll pay you whatever it takes.
That's it.
Make it great. Make it great.
Like when Russell hired me, he was like, I don't want to deal with this every day. Like, just handle this. And then he put me in touch with his point person, and they just funneled work constantly to me, and we just cranked it out of the park.
Yeah.
So those are the clients that I would love to work with, because they want it all done for them. Yes, they want to say yay or nay, but they don't want to worry about micromanaging. They don't want to worry about any of that. So and 9 times out of 10, it comes down to quality and it comes down to speed. So if we can get those two things, which we both have now, because my process is like the freaking car wash.
Yeah.
You put in the job, and 2 days later it spits out beautiful.
Yep.
So it's all done. Like, it's all there. But so you just got to pull these little pieces out, right?
Yep.
Doing the busy work and not enough revenue. I forgot I even wrote this stuff. So that's what I mean. Like, I just got to go back to this and play around. And I mean, I have 2 months worth of content here.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I would figure out, like, Sam Ovens talks about this a lot. I think Sam Ovens is a genius, by the way. He's
great.
So smart. He says, figure out what the number one, like, what is literally the thing that's taking up the most of their attention, right? Like, in regards to what you do. So for me, like, if I think about my service, I'm like, they don't want to think about edits. They just want their story to be told and they want it to be told as they are. Like, they want to represent themselves in the best way possible. And they feel like they haven't been able to do that. And it's also, they want an asset that they're going to be able to use in their marketing, right? Like, it's almost like the biggest problem that I'm solving is that they haven't been able to put themselves out there on the internet in a way that they feel really represents themselves, and with a tool that allows them to make money doing it. They feel that they've been told that by being authentic or being, real is what's going to help their brand or help their business or convert more sales and all this stuff. But they just don't know how to do it.
That's right? That's it in a nutshell.
And so when I come in, I say, look, I'm not only am I going to tell your story in amazing, like, no one's going to be able to tell your story like me. It's going to look beautiful, and it's going to convert. It's going to create more sales, and we're going to bang it out in 2 days. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to shoot the interview, then we're going to shoot the B-roll on the next day, and then I'm going to be done, and you're going to have a video in 2 weeks. And you're going to have all these other assets to go along with it. So you'll have other marketing assets that work in conjunction. Got it. Right? So with you, it's like, figure out whatever that one thing is that they really like. Ask them, like, what's the one thing that's taking up most of your attention? Or what do you have your attention on right now in your business? What's consuming your attention? And as soon as they tell you, it's going to be a lot of different things because entrepreneurs are all over the place, but figure out what the common pattern is. Maybe you already know already. And then you can start addressing, like basically you solve this thing with your service, but it doesn't not necessarily always have to be connected. You just have to make sure they make the connection. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's very simple. I mean, they're all cloudy. They're all clouded. They have a real time finding their voice, and they don't know how to articulate that value, like you said, to the audience. That's number one. Number two, they don't look the part at all, and they should. So it's like they're showing up to the Grammys and the Oscar Awards in dirty clothes.
Yep.
Right? That's how they show up online 9 times out of 10.
Yep.
And the minute I interact with their brand, I see immediately that there's a huge disconnect here. I don't know how great you are based on what I see here because it looks like hell.
Yeah.
And so that once you clean that up, then it's like, oh crap. Now it's like you have a different problem, which is a good problem.
Yeah.
You weed out all those people that want to nickel and dime you because they're like, oh crap, I can't afford this guy. And now you start to attract a whole different species.
Yep.
And that's the game changer when you invest in your brand's identity, when you invest in your brand's messaging. I mean, we're doing similar deliverables, but you are just focused on video. I'm focusing in on
the web design, the messaging, the communication,
the presence.
The presence. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you're a video presence. I'm digital presence, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So it's the same thing. So, I mean, we can speak the same language and speak the same way to our clients. It's just you talk video, I talk identity.
Yep.
Overall.
That's all it is. So then when you're storytelling, right, and you're deciding how you're going to use this information to craft your message, and you're thinking, and you've done the research and you collected that, and you're saying like, okay, this is the one thing that they got most of their attention on. I think about the book, The One Thing, right? Like if this one thing was solved, what's the one thing that if it was done or if it was solved, it would make everything easier or unnecessary?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I think about that and I'm like, okay, what's the one thing? What's the one thing? And then you put that into your messaging and you layer that on top of this story with these, nuances that you placed in there. And then all of a sudden, boom.
So what is that one thing in your eyes? Like
The one thing is confusion.
Interesting.
I think entrepreneurs are in a condition of confusion most of the time.
And what are they confused about?
They're confused about a lot of things. They're confused about how to scale. They're confused about, how to protect their money from taxes. They're confused about whether their marketing strategy is the right one or not, and sometimes they're not confused. Sometimes they're thriving. Sometimes their condition is in affluence and they're just in abundance and they're winning, right? But I think that when you start getting to that higher level, right? Like the individual who we spoke about last time, it's really like they've got a lot of things figured out, but they just don't feel there's like a thing that's missing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I did this, I built a big business and I did this and it's cool and I feel like it's working and stuff like this, but like, and I'm taking care of my family and it's like, well, what about my legacy? Mm-hmm. What about me? Mm-hmm. And they start going inward. Mm-hmm. Right. I think those high level people, once they've sort of cleared the playing field and they're out of that state of confusion, they've scaled and now they got this big sort of almost empire, but they're looking to do more. Then it's an inward journey. And for them, it's more about like, hey, how can I be represented in the best way possible? I want people to see who I am for who I am, not for who they think I am. Mm-hmm. And it's a thing of, it's like a self-image thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth. So it's just it's putting their best foot forward. They want to put their best foot forward, and they don't have the mechanism or tool to do that without us.
Yeah. And so when we come in, what it's really cool. What we do, Henry, is we're communicators, right? And we facilitate people, right? And what they're trying to say and what they're trying to message. So like we take what's inside their head and we put it through our filter, and then we put it out through the world. So they need us as that filter to digest all that, whatever's inside their head, and get it out into the world. So that's a one way of thinking of it.
And that's the clarity piece. I think that's the thing that keeps them up, is getting, and that's the reason why we're working together. It's keeping the message clear, keeping it dialed in, and keeping it, yes, that's it, period.
So I'll ask you, what's your attention on right now?
My attention right now is building my audience, providing as much, giving them a reason to follow me. Giving them a reason to follow me.
Got it.
And so with that, to go one level deep, to go one level deeper is really understanding them, the audience. So that's what I'm really focused in on right now. And that's why I'm like asking your opinion on some of these questions, because I want to get somebody else's perspective on the target audience that we're both serving.
Yeah.
So research.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the research. I also think it comes to engagement. Like if I'm in your shoes, I think you're a little bit more established than I am, and people have a little bit more awareness of what you're doing. So I think you're in a position where, not to make an excuse for myself, but I think I have some more groundwork to do. But I think you're in a position where you could start really engaging with your audience. And by doing that, I mean like answering their, like almost doing like your Q&A, and maybe saying, hey, call me at this time. You can give me a call and I'm going to answer your question. I'll do it live and I'm going to provide that value, because that way you can collect all that data. And it's like over the course of the long term of like, just doing that much interaction, what you're going to see is you're going to see even more patterns than you're already seeing, because you can only work with so many clients, right? But if you can hammer out a bunch of questions for these people, then you just become the one-stop shop for all things branding, right? And communications and messaging and all that stuff.
And I think that's the difference between us and, well, me and everyone else that does this. It's the level of standard that I hold here at the agency, and what it needs to look like and be before the client gets it. Like that's one, right? And it's being able to communicate and articulate that value better than them, better than the competition. And unfortunately, sometimes what we need to do is we need to throw salt on the wound and remind people of what it's going to look like if they don't take care of this problem now. And that's where the no BS approach comes in. I mean, when I ask my audience, how do I sound to them? Because I want to know from them what my voice sounds like. They say it's this no BS approach. It's this direct firmness, and a lot of people appreciate that. And so, and a lot of people don't. I mean, I don't have to do it with the cursing, which some people need that cursing involved to give it that extra impact. I don't necessarily need that. But I am very firm, and I am very direct, and I'll ask those tough questions. And sometimes people don't want to go there, but I know when we get off the call, their head spins.
They're thinking about it.
Yeah. I've tilled the soil, where now things are uprooted and now they have decisions to make. So, at the end of the day is Are you willing to do the work to achieve the end result that you desire?
That's it.
If not, then question that desire, because you're not going to get, it's not going to be easy. I mean, how else can I explain it? It's not going to be easy. It could be easier than doing it yourself, but it's going to take a shit ton of time and work. And if you're not thinking long game, then you will peter out. You will fizzle.
So what other questions do you have at this time, if I can help you?
Yeah. So it's clarifying the message. It's making sure that the message resonates. And so you gave me some great tips. So first and foremost, go back to this email and just take a look at what I wrote, because I forget half the stuff that I wrote down here, which is very, very pertinent. Mm-hmm. So take a peek at this email, right? Mm-hmm. Go back into my insights and summaries doc that I just gave you a quick glance of, and look at some of the symptoms, look at some of the desired results and goals that they're looking for, and speak to those, right? And that's gonna clarify the message. And then the last thing you said was now begin the engagement, or continue the engagement, which is the Instagram live Q&As, the Facebook Q&As. You know, right after this call, I'm going to jump on Instagram while I have time in between calls and do some Q&A, do a little bit of a topic of the day, and maybe bring someone on. Now you can invite someone on.
Yep.
Right? And I saw Damon John do it over the weekend, and he did it in such a great way. He was boarding a plane, and so I think he did that purposely, because obviously the backdrop was perfect, right? Yep. So he's boarding a private jet, and he's, everyone can see that he's, established and balling and all that. All that nonverbal stuff counts in my eyes, right? It just sets tone. And he brought somebody on who had a trademark question, and I just caught the ass end of the conversation, but he brought that person on. That person's going to remember that for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
For the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's just playing that Gary Vaynerchuk game of like, one is better than zero.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, I'm going to jump on here and I'm going to talk to 3 people. And that may not seem like a lot right now, but, 3 people could turn into 10 people, could turn into 20 people. Or maybe one of those 3 people is the person who has a 1 million person email list with your perfect customer or something like that. It's just doing the work,
Yeah. I think because I have that talk, I'm going to be speaking in front of like 200 people in May. And I want to just have an outline of what it is that I want to say.
All right, let me read you something, because I think this will help you. So Sam Ovens, he did this ad, and this ad literally got me to, is a long copy, long form picture ad. And I stopped and I took the time to read this whole thing. And I've been through his course, so I know I know what's up and I know about it. So there's no reason for me to buy, but if I was a new consultant and I saw this ad, I would have bought. And I'll tell you why after I read it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to skip to the part that really hit me.
Yep.
Okay. You said number 3, patterns of existence. You're not the highest version of yourself, which you can imagine. You're the lowest version of yourself, which you can accept. Most people have hopes and dreams, but they rarely achieve them. They write down things that they want and wish happy thoughts, but never ever come of it. People always regulate to the lowest version of themselves, which they can accept, not the highest version of themselves, which they can imagine. Change comes from lifting your standards, not your dreams. People binge watch TV series and leave their dreams on the back burner for later, but they will fight like hell not to breach their standards. This pattern presents itself in everybody. Here's a common example. If you want to observe somebody's pattern of existence, look at their bank account. Most people have two numbers, desired balance and the panic balance. They want to have more money in their bank account, but the force of desire is nowhere near strong enough to make them do something about it. Then there's a panic balance, the number where somebody panics when their balance falls below it. The moment somebody finds themselves below the panic balance, they explode into action and work tirelessly until
it gets over.
Yeah. Tirelessly until they're back in this quote-unquote safe zone. These two numbers present a person's financial dreams and standards. They do nothing to achieve their dreams, but they fight like hell not to breach their standards. This same pattern of existence shows up everywhere in a person's life, not just their bank account. When you want to change your life or business, try to map your dreams and standards and understand where they are. Find the lowest version of yourself you're willing to tolerate, and then work on lifting that standard to where you truly want to be. When you do this, you'll light a fire within you like nothing else. I hope this helps you on your journey.
It's beast. That's so great.
It's so beast.
And it's written. I mean, from the heart. It's very heartfelt. I get it. and so that's my point. Like, that guy is really dialed in to his message and articulating it in a way that really comes across strong.
So you know what Sam does is every day he schedules a customer interview.
No kidding.
Every day he has an interview with a customer that bought his course.
I love that. And that's why that's so it's so dang on. Right?
It's just, dude, all it is surveys. All it is data collection and research, right? Like we've done a fair amount right here. You have a much better understanding. You have the work that you've done, your own work, like the branding stuff. And then you just need to go in and you need to just think about, like, okay, like this one really resonated with me because I definitely have felt those times when I'm in panic mode, right? And you better believe I'm working like around the clock till that situation is resolved, right? And it's weird. There's like a threshold, like a number where it's like, okay, if I got this much amount in my bank account, then it's good, right? And I'm like, no stress, like I'm chilling, I'm watching Californication, you know, like I'm choking out, like whatever. And then it's a simple thing though, and like I remember Tony Robbins talked about it, but I don't want to get off track. The point is by being in the weeds with your customers that much, and not so much in the sense of like working one-on-one, but just interviewing them, because when you're working with them, you're not focused on that. You're focused on doing the work and getting the job done, right? And providing the service. You're not focused on collecting that data.
That's right. Exactly. So this is phenomenal stuff. I mean, so now I have a much more, framework around data collection, research. I have some things to really work with to get that message out there. So through the blog post, through the Facebook lives, through all that stuff. I mean, it's just doing it. And the good news about me is I'm not afraid to do it. So give me what I need to do and I'll do it. And you've helped me today tremendously, just getting that clear, giving me the go-to places, right? Just reminding me of those go-to places, and then just get out there and bang it out. So, I spend the next hour connecting with my audience, vibing with them, walking through the weeds with them, and listening to them. And that's the name of the game. And now you're one with the people. And the people that step up are the ones that are ready, right? And the ones that don't, they're either going to take more time or they're not going to be around in 18 months. Because they waited too long.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's so funny, man. So I do a lot of Instagram stuff, right? Like I don't have a big following, but I make sure the right people follow me whenever I meet someone. I say, hey, follow me on Instagram. I heard I got a cool feed, And I post a lot of stories, right, to show people, what I'm doing, what's going on. And I see people, man, they're lurking, and they've been lurking for a long time. And you better believe, when it comes time, like either I'm reaching out or they're eventually going to reach out. It's just a matter of them being in the right situation, That's
it. It's funny because you can see who watches your stories.
Yeah.
And, you see the same accounts over and over and over and over again. And, it's just a matter of time that they either go away, right? Or just, okay, I had enough of this person. I need to go and do this now. Or they're the ones that step forward.
Yeah, I think you're doing all the right things. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's time. And
with this level of understanding to it, and just not that you didn't have it before, but bringing your attention back to it.
I didn't. I'm gonna be honest with you, Kyle. I never spent this kind of time, on really doing the research and studying. And man, it gives you such a sense of empathy, because like I read all of this stuff and I'm like, holy shit, that was me 5 years ago. That was me 6 years ago. That was me 10 years ago when I was just starting. It brings back all these memories, and I'm like, shit, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to say, if I could go back in time, this is how I would do it. Right. That stuff there is priceless.
It's so priceless.
And that's the uniqueness about my story versus somebody else. And for those that are going to watch this video, they're going to say the same thing. Like, that's my unique angle. Because no two stories are the same. They can have similar, but no two stories are the exact same.
Yeah, it's like, why do people, excluding the value proposition, it's like, why would someone choose me over someone else? It's like, they just resonate with who I am. And
that's the double-edged sword. Like that, I shouldn't say double-edged sword. That's the sniper bullet right there. Maybe that not be the right word either, but that's the magic sauce. You know what I mean? That's what's going to get them to connect. And that's what I just pound home.
Yeah.
I saw something come through my feed, and then I'll let you go, from Gary. And it said, it's your duty and responsibility to tell your story.
Yes.
And if you don't want to do it, this is where I put my 2 cents in. If you don't want to do it, that's your decision. None of us can help you with that.
Yeah.
So that is a wrap, my friend. Listen, this was awesome stuff. I want to give you the copy of this once it gets produced, because this is a great piece of media. You're getting free media over here, my friend. But no, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it because people need to see this side of you. People need to see this side of you, and that you truly are a master of your craft, dude.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And it's just a matter of time until I get you out here with Stretch and you guys do some collabo work, because, you two guys are going to just be nasty.
Yeah, man. I'm
right?
always looking for collaboration.
Yeah. So I think once the weather breaks, we got to get you over here and do some stuff. I'm dying to get some of your eye on my stuff.
100%.
And I think you and Stretch can do some crazy shit too. So
I believe it.
I'll get you connected, when the time comes. But dude, thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you.